Joining me on the line right now is Jody Mitic. I've had him on my show before. I met him a few years ago at when the UFC first came to Toronto. I'm very fascinated by Jody as a person, what he represents, his values, his strength, and just his beliefs. He's a double amputee, but you know what? He has got such amazing heart. I always like talking to Jody, and when I found out that it was revealed that he and his brother were named as the first contestants on the Amazing Race Canada, which has already been filmed, but they just announced some of the participants. And when I saw Jody's picture on the paper, I was stunned. I was floored. I thought, couldn't have picked a better person to compete in this type of competition, just because that's how competitive, how athletic Jody is, and just a very fierce competitor. So Jody, now that I've said all those things about you, how did the whole thing come about?
Well, it's funny. A friend of mine in Alberta had the idea, and then we put it in an audition video, and then he couldn't get the time off work, so I asked my brother, who was my first choice to begin with, to be honest, and then Corey and I did a video with a friend of ours at a Strength Box gym in Toronto, and then we did all the auditions, and we kept making the short list. And I tell you, they have about 20 short lists, and it drives you crazy every time you get on one, because you just want them to say you're in or you're out. You know, it's one of those things. And then, and then they called us and they told us to show up, and we filmed the show.
Now we're watching a little video here, stuff of you. I guess you're doing chin-ups and stuff like that. How did you have to prepare? I know you're very active to begin with, but did you have to do anything extra just to physically prepare?
Yeah, no, I was gonna do some get some crazy CrossFit type stuff in things, but I looked around in Orleans, where I live in Ottawa, and wasn't really that much available, and so I just stuck with what I knew. I've been in shape since I was 16, and joined the military at 17, and so I just kind of stuck to what I knew. Did some running, did some working out, and I took the mentality like I used to take with long term, like when we go on extended exercise with the military, you always show up not knowing what to expect, but your body and your mind adapt to the situation.
So when you finally got the nod and they said, Jody, you've been selected with your brother, was it like, wow, you know what, it's another thing I've done in my life, because I know you like to really test yourself in many ways, was just say, you know what, an accomplishment, I've been chosen for for this inaugural edition of the Amazing Race Canada?
Well, for me it was definitely a challenge that I didn't know how I'd do. Corey and I had a lot of talks about the legs are, because there have been amputees on the American version, but we weren't sure, neither of us had watched that many episodes of the American version, so we weren't sure what to expect. And you never know. Everything's unique. So we just had a lot of talk about what do we do, and we took the mindset I usually take and said, we'll deal with it when it happens. You can. There's a million reasons not to do something, and we couldn't think of any reason not to do this. Because it was quite the challenge.
When they choose you, do they put all the contestants together and basically give you an understanding of what you're about to get into, the parameters of what the challenges may be, or how the whole thing's going to be filmed? Because in many of these reality shows or these types of shows, it looks to me like they develop a life of their own, and almost like the people, the competitors, almost develop a personality that I don't know if it's there, or they're encouraged to just be outside of themselves, to just relax. How does that whole thing work?
Well, I can't give away any trade secrets.
Well, I'm not giving. I'm just asking. Okay.
Everyone falls into their own rhythm with taping, because day one you're obviously going to be different from the last day, and Corey and I definitely found ourselves getting more. You get more comfortable with the situation, I guess, is how it goes, and because it is different running around and having people tape your every move.
Now, again, when the story came out, and I read in the Toronto Star story, I guess your brother said his phone was ringing off the hook when people found out, what he had done, because it's already been filmed. So
right.
were you guys kind of living in this bubble, or whatever you want to call it, this kind of just a very kind of anonymous world, because that's the way it's supposed to be?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, basically, you're doing something really amazing. No pun intended. But it has to. The secrecy is so.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, everyone's like, well, where'd you go for a month? And I'm like, well, I was on a trip with my brother, is what I told most people. So, you know, I wasn't lying. You know, but it was like one of those half truths, and then, you know, even my family, they say, well, what happened? You know, like, you know, who wins and how well did you do? And it's like, well, you're just gonna have to tune in July 15th at 9:00 on CTV, and you can find out everything you want to know.
So is it going to be like a weekly episode starting July the 15th?
Yeah, it's a Monday night starting July 15th until, I think it runs until the end of September.
Okay. And are you interested in watching it just to actually see what this thing looks like? Because I mean, if they've been filming and doing all this stuff, you know, they can edit this thing down. So I would imagine it's kind of like you may have been doing a movie and all of a sudden you get to see how the whole thing looks.
Well, you know, I've done enough media and other things that I tend to shy away from watching myself, to be honest. But for this one, I'm really excited because it is like how they edit it and how they put it together, and I want to see the look on my face when I do some of this stuff that they had us do.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, you know, no one's going to be more surprised than I was with some of the stuff that I did. You know, but I really want to see the look of whether it's terror or excitement or joy that ends up being on my face at certain moments.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and I kind of want to see the looks on the faces of some of the other contestants when they go through the same challenges.
When you look upon it now, and again, they revealed you as the first, you and your brothers, the first competitors, and I always thought, you know what, because of your, if you want to call it a disability or your handicap, you have done so much to represent what you can do versus what you can't do. Do you feel that you were chosen because of that? Or you know, sometimes they look for particular characters, particular personalities. Why do you think specifically you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I who knows what goes through the minds of the people casting the show. They certainly picked a really diverse group. And, you know, my story is obviously compelling. I'm not going to pretend I don't know that. And I think it'd be different maybe if I hadn't run the runs that I've done or done some of the other challenges I've done, because they wouldn't have known if I had the will, maybe. I don't know, like, because people don't understand disability that well. Even me, I'm still learning every day what my limits are. And so, and then my brother and I together are, we've always been told we're a pretty entertaining pair to be around. So I think they must have seen something they liked and they let us on. So, you know, we just went for the ride, to be honest, and had a great time.
I think it's amazing. Like I said, I admire you so much for a lot of the things that you do and a lot of the things that you represent. So I think this is I'm looking forward to watching it. And again, you said it starts in July. Is it July the 13th or 15th, you said?
Monday, July 15th at 9 p.m. on CTV.
That's going to be great. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the UFC. I'm assuming you're still really up on that.
I do my best to keep track, but I mean, they've upped their number of shows so much. Like, it's hard to keep track of everything they're doing. But I still love UFC, and I plan to go to the next Toronto event. Good.
Because the reason I was going to ask you is Anderson Silva, middleweight champion for 1,000,000 years, is going to be fighting Chris Weidman. It's next weekend, and it's a real big deal. Have you followed anything about that match?
To be honest, I've stopped paying as much attention when Anderson's fighting because I've fallen into the group of people that see it as a foregone conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know that much about Weidman. I mean, I saw in the underground that he put out, you know, the usual statement, I'm the guy who's going to beat him. You know what? Like, yeah. How many guys have said that the last 5 years? And I don't know much about Weidman's style or how his record, to be honest. I've been actually really distracted.
That's understandable. Yeah.
And but you know, like, and I missed the last one where the last set of fights. So you know, like you know, you're right. I do need to get back up on top of things, but I don't see Anderson losing before he retires, in my opinion. But I mean, what do I know? I've never been out in the ring or anything like that.
Well, you know enough to know what it's all about, and again, I respect your opinion. And
Appreciate that.
again, congratulations on being chosen to do this, and congratulations just for being who you are. And I was pestering you yesterday all day long because I wanted to get you on the air even before this. As it comes closer to the actual broadcasting of the show, I may bring you back.
That'd be awesome.
All right, Jody, as usual, thanks a lot for your time, and just do what you're doing, okay?
No problem, Perry. You keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thanks. Bye.